Hello, welcome back to the OPL. Direwolves absolutely commanding in their Game 1 victory over Sin Gaming. However, Sin threw some kitchen sinks and some other, like a big ram and a door, and there was a couple of household items flying around.
How many kitchen sinks and household items can you throw? Apparently a lot.
A lot.
All right, Drew's been hitting the gym, you know, throwing them around left, right, and center. But yeah, Dire was just commanding. That's the best way to describe it. Like kind of comprehensive across the board. They were just like winning all three lanes. Chippy's got that advantage very early in the game from Shern, and yeah, they're just like pushing it all over the map.
And the thing I've always personally respected about the Direwolves is how much in sync and on the same page they are.
Yeah.
They very much play as a five-man unit. They're great players individually, but some of their parts really is still greater than their whole. And I think that was a good game to demonstrate how one part of the team being able to shove in can actually unlock and relieve pressure from everywhere else on the map.
And I mean, what makes it even more impressive is the fact that they changed 40% of their roster this year. They changed Triple and Cupcake, two new players to the Direwolves, and it just seems like they still have that level of just obscene cohesion across the board.
And this is something that they've been working on, obviously, since Guinevere Capital came in with their investment. The ability to be able to boot camp in Korea, being able to bring Shern back into the team. And I mean, a lot of it has to go towards their coaching and support staff. Both Rippy and Sharp were professional players. They know what the team needs to be structured around. And I just think there's one of those organizations that right now seems to be working well.
That's a big thing as a professional player, someone that actually understands the stresses of like game day and things like that. What scrimming 5 days a week sort of does, and how to like relax and kind of just completely understand what the players are going through, and then being able to bring that performance out of them.
But at the same time, I really respect how Sin Gaming went into that game. They were willing to match fire with fire. They played their style of League of Legends. Even when they were 14,000 gold down, they were the ones looking for proactive plays. They were like, if we're going to lose, we're losing on our terms. And I think that is, like, I always say that mentally is a good way to lose the game. Because all you have to think is, if the early game gank doesn't go that way, or if we win one of those scrappy team fights early, we get the snowball. And then every subsequent team fight, we win. We still got this, guys.
Because you mentioned 14,000 gold lead, and they do actually make it very briefly 4v5 on the map. They killed Triple in the mid lane. They caught him out, and that's a big thing. I absolutely just hate watching teams slowly lose. Absolutely hate it. Shernfire's, don't know what he's doing there. He's just running around a little bit. But yeah, as you mentioned, like Sin actually putting a fight up, I think that's absolutely huge for them, especially in this kind of David versus Goliath matchup.
And I think it's good for their young players, because we talk about it when players go to Korea, like when you play against, you know, the Khans and the Somedays, and when you run into Faker and, you know, the Crowns of the world, and you're like, these guys bleed like everyone else, they lose team fights like everyone else. I think there's a little bit of this misnomer in, you know, Oceanic League of Legends that you can't do what the Direwolves do because they'll just beat you at it. But the young players will be now like, hey, if we actually, you know, if I didn't jump into a Talia flick and get one shot, or if I rotated a little bit earlier and trusted the call from Juice, maybe we start winning those fights. And it starts, you know, training those good habits that you need to be able to eventually make an OPL split run.
Yeah, 100%. You do need those good moments, at least, in a bad game to then go off stage and kind of snowball into the next game. You need to be able to pick it up,
you need something to review. You can't review nothing. If you do nothing in a game, your coach can't be like, well, let me teach you something about that. Because it's like, well, you did nothing.
Just let him win.
Like, so I would always rather review a play than review a non-play. Because it is just so much easier to teach off the back end of that. King's hair, by the way, is very nice at the moment. It looks very soft. It is a good color.
Does it look soft?
Yeah, I reckon it does.
You're a hair guy.
I am a big hair guy.
I can't tell how soft his hair is.
When my hair was like that, it was actually so hard to maintain. But Kelvin does it well. And he also wears, now we're on Praetor. But he also, the color suits him. That's Jarvan Sejuani, Ezreal banned away by the Direwolves, targeting out Juves. The Kalista, as well as Malzahar and GP hit the bench.
Direwolves very prepared. Just first pick, instant lock-in of the Zoe.
And this is interesting because I think this will be, we have him back on the screen. I think this will be the first time that we really will see Direwolves with a slightly different lane. Malzahar, Azir, as well as the Talia is what we've seen in there. All very hard pushing lanes, whereas Zoe kind of plays around Fog of War. Can get the shove if she controls the wave. However, can also get bullied off by things like Rise. So we'll be interested to see how it goes.
Zoe, definitely a team effort. You want to be in the jungle, have access to those walls, so your Sleepy Trouble bubble can go very long distances, so you can access the backline and be zooming over walls, throwing the paddle stars around. Obviously a very slight nerf on this patch, but she's still good.
Yeah. Zaya as well as Azir picked up right now for Sin Gaming. I think Azir is Bedouin's second best champion that he's had performances
behind Cassio?
Behind Cassio, which obviously was popping off, and maybe that's just him feeling it one day, and maybe he feels like Azir is actually his best champion, but this is the one champion that he has stepped up big time in the laning phase especially, and looked to apply pressure. Shern grabs his Kha'Zix.
Obviously banned last game, and I do like the Azir pickup here. Obviously with the Lovers bottom lane, it is definitely a threat, and Direwolves don't lock in any parts of their bottom lane, but this does mean the Zyra Khan is available.
This is actually really nice drafting out of Sharp. You generally don't take Camille when they have last pick counter on this side because there are things that can beat it. However, what Sharp's done is he said they probably want to take Rakan here, so we will either make them take Rakan, which he does, and ban away 2 counter picks to Camille, or they take a counter pick and we get rid of Rakan. Either way, his team gets a win off that draft decision.
Yep, great stuff there, and it will be locked in. And Xayah, obviously the easiest one to blind pick out of the two, so that's why it got taken in the first rotation. You don't see a lot of blind pick Rakans and then Xayah locks later.
Because you have
it's
to
normally
go,
the reverse.
You generally have to get rid of Braum and Ali when you play this combo. Braum because if he just stands off the AD carry, and then Ali because he stands off the AD carry and just headbutts the Xayah away. Ali in a defensive lane, kind of frustrating to watch play. As an aggressive Ali player, when you're a headbutt away Ali and then hold the support.
Not a headbutt in.
Yeah, not a headbutt in. It kind of...
You kind of force Xayah to ulti, because she has to dodge it, otherwise she can't commit to the play that Rakan engages, so she kind of has to burn her ulti aggressively, and that means you're not doing damage really other than the Featherstorm that flicks out, whilst the CC has landed from Rakan.
Yeah, I completely agree. And if Direwolves right here, if Sin Gaming right here grabbed themselves a tank jungler, and then something that has pressure top lane, I actually think they've won this draft phase nearly. I think that they've got a lot of late game scaling damage. They've got some great initiation that can follow up on what Juves wants to be able to do. And Azir and Xayah are both champions, and even though they scale incredibly well, it's not like they're slouches on 1 and 2 item spikes. They still do a ton of damage.
I feel like Direwolves comp, especially if they lock in the Twitch rather, it's pretty greedy overall. They have no CC almost to their name, just the bubble, unreliable. Camille, pretty unreliable, and obviously wants to be sitting in the side lane, so you have to think the bottom lane will round out a bit of CC, otherwise they're going to be playing one of these finesse comps.
Yeah, I would expect something almost like a Varus or old school Ashe Jhin to come out.
We've seen Jhin.
Yeah.
Potential.
There is potential. Like I always thought Jhin Kha'Zix was actually a really good comp to run, because if Kha'Zix ever finds anyone and gets the initial slowdown, Jhin can just start peppering them with bullets. Kench, so no CC.
Yep, Direwolves, no aggressive CC really at all. No engaged potential other than maybe a Camille flank, Tahm Kench, and that Caitlyn. Pretty defensive lane, obviously into the aggressive nature of the Zyra Khan. And if the bottom lane from Sin ever do misstep...
This is like oil and water. There is a team with going backwards as their MO and mantra, and then there will be a Gnar as well as a Rakan, and now a Zac. And it makes in for the side of Sin Gaming.
And it makes a lot of sense. You wouldn't expect Direwolves here to have 7 go buttons and Sin to be running away. So teams are sticking to their guns here in Game 2.
I love it.
Trolling, going Ghost Cleanse.
I absolutely love it. I think that this is... I like when teams play within the meta, but only
play
to
their
the
style within the meta.
Yeah, that actually suit them. And I think that both of these teams have done exactly that. This will be an interesting game.
Yeah, absolutely here. I think bot lane potentially very volatile here once we start hitting 6, but early on, skill matchup in the top lane, Camille versus Gnar. Not the first time we've seen this one, but Kratos obviously favoring that one. Thinks he can get the upper hand against Chippies for Game 2 here. Game 1, obviously Shernfire ruined his day.
Yeah, I actually used to think this was an out-and-out Camille counter pick. I thought Camille was like one of the, like, along with Fiora, I really liked Fiora into Gnar actually. Thought that were the 2 champions that could really hassle him. However, the more I see this, the more Gnar seems to be starting to get an upper hand.
Yep, absolutely here. Shernfire got his one of his best champions, honestly, in my opinion.
It is his best champion, Kha'Zix. He's terrifying on that damn
Gets
thing.
banned. Like, nobody else gets Kha'Zix banned away from them, really, until you get to second phase. But Shernfire right now, week after week, has received the first phase bans on that champion. So, especially with that early dueling potential against Juves on the Zac. Zac, pretty rough early clear. Gets fairly low and not much dueling potential out of him. So, if Shernfire can find his way into Juves' jungle once again for Game 2, you have to think that's how they're going to play. I mean, like they did it in Game 1. See if they can replicate for Game 2.
And I want to just see whether Sin stick to the very fast game plan, because I think it's the right thing to do. We keep going back to it, but I think that it's also going to show a good side of maturity if they do commit to it, because the easy thing to do here is say they're not going to be proactive, so we can afford to scale in this comp. However, want to see them really fight fire with fire. As we get onto Summoner's Rift for game number 2, Direwolves versus Sin. Laura is alongside Direwolves coach Sharp.
Thank you very much, guys. I'm standing here with Sharp. It looked like the Direwolves had a lot of fun in Game 1. We saw Schönfire punching his chair just before. How's the team feeling after that win?
Yeah, to be honest, actually, I didn't really even see Schönfire punching the chair. That's actually something he does all the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Even in the office, he just likes to let out a bit of emotion sometimes, whether or not it's positive or negative. So it's just, I guess, Schönfire thing, just a Schönfire thing.
We saw you first pick Zoe in this game. It's a champion we're still seeing after multiple nerfs. So I'd just like to ask you of your opinion on her in this current meta.
Yeah, well, I guess Zoe has been pretty high priority all around the world, not just Oceania. I guess even despite the nerf on the, I think it was the Paddle Star, got a nerf on the cooldown. But I don't think that really alters Zoe's strength. Like Zoe, regardless, I think the OP thing about Zoe is the E, and just how long range and how consistent that form of CC is. So I think that you'll still see a lot of Zoe in the meta, and I expect to see triple pop off, to be honest, because it's something that he's been practicing a lot. And I think he's pretty stoked to actually get it in an OPL game.
Well, I'm excited to see it. Finally, taking a look at Sin's draft, what's the biggest threat you can see on the Rift today?
Well, I guess Zyra Khan is always, like, in itself a bit of a spooky duo. But we've got the Tom there to kind of mitigate that. So hopefully we'll see playing around the Zyra Khan well and the range of their engage through Zach E. So as long as we respect those two threats, I think that we should come out on top.
Well, best of luck with the game, and thank you so much for talking to us.
That's okay. Thank you.
Always really nice to hear from Sharp. I like the fact that he actually just gives all the information, puts it all on the table. It's like, do with it what you will. Obviously, he's very confident in the fact that Triple has been playing a boatload of Zoe. We saw an interesting top lane.
Yeah, top lane trade level 1. Chippy's found his way into melee range of the Gnar. Praedyth took a bunch of his HP, but now seems to be with that mega proc. Higher HP.
So I have a slight thing about the top lane, as we see Shern actually invading very aggressively onto Juves. He's level 3 versus level 2, so he should be able to win this one.
He just
drives in. You can see Juves gets chunked down. Might actually go into bloblets. No. That's always risky diving Zach just because of the bloblets. But you can see, due to the middle lane push, Shern is able to do that and get out without punishment.
Yeah, you just know that he's not actually going to die. We'll obviously break that passive and fall down into the bloblets, as you said, but you won't really be able to tank a turret as a level 3 Kha'Zix, so he doesn't commit his flash to that play. Schönfire just takes away a few of the camps onto the golems now.
Yeah, exactly right. And you can see that Juve's trying to cross-map him, trying to look for that Raptor camp, see whether he can get it, given the fact that Zoe is pushed up so far, so he decides against it.
But Oink very low on mana, and even though that bubble did not land, forces him to take the Q from Triple in that trade. Looking pretty rough. His jungler has got almost no pressure on the map right now. Praedyth actually going to face check Shern, but no, he hops over the wall because the lane is so far pushed onto Chippy's side. Doesn't want any piece of the Gnar right now.
Yeah, another example of when Shern's just sweeping back towards his jungle, looking for any pixel wards or something like that in the river that would have been dropped by Juves earlier. And at the same time, Sin's bottom lane, they use their priority to wander up, get a nice tri-brush ward. So both teams playing very respectfully.
We actually do see the Glacial Tarm once more, so Cupcake not going mega defensive in this matchup.
Are you a fan of Glacial Tarm?
I do. I am. 100%. I think especially the kill potential out of a Caitlyn Tahm-Kench. If you ever eat someone, if Dream ever missteps, if Kuden burns his shields and then goes in for a W and you find yourself in melee range, able to eat someone up, that's so easy to take them down. You just pick them up with a Devour, spit them onto a trap, and so much damage. Not to mention Caitlyn's Q. The damage is pretty underrated, right? Like if you can actually proactively, your support can just spit it out and you don't have to hit it through creeps, you don't have to push it through the wave. It's the first thing that it hits, does so much damage. Praedyth.
In goes Chippy's potentially. Praedyth was looking to bait that one. Chippy's really good read. He knows that something's up. He even wards over the wall and says, where's Juves?
Yeah, knows the play, so. Almost baits Juves into going in there. Level 3 as well only, 17 CS. Versus Schönfire. A couple of camps ahead of him right now.
Oh, that's nice. Just a redemption from mid lane.
That's nice. That's
all of a sudden, you lose lane a little bit less.
That's cheating. Once again, one of the members of Direwolves is cheating. Just going to push out this wave a little bit. Minion Dematerializer on the side of Zoe, but not onto his ear, so Triple has that early push advantage.
I think that's what it came from as well when we were looking at so much of the early push. You can see at 5 minutes, he's already used 4 of them. As in goes Cupcake, looking for that 8. You can see he's absolutely salivating over the thought of picking himself up Rakan.
Yep, had those 2 stacks, but unfortunately couldn't get the 3rd. And Kuden sitting right now in this matchup. You should be winning with the Zyra Khan, but sitting on no mana. They're going to have to look in for a reset. But Direwolves match it as well.
Yeah,
I
both
know
teams
that's
looking
going to happen.
for resets. Potentially we'll look to shove this one out a little bit quicker.
Oh.
That's a bubble hitting underneath the turret. But Doink able to dodge out on the paddle star, however.
He's got another redemption. He's
wonder who he
fine.
gives this one
yeah.
to.
Does he give it to Shern? No, he's full HP. Does he give it to Chippies? He's
Pretty full HP as
pretty
well.
full HP. Maybe
Every
he
now
uses
and
it
again,
for wave clear.
you just throw it into the jungle and look to see if you can spot
Oh, it's
out
like
the jungle.
clairvoyance.
Yeah.
I never
he
thought
does
about
use it
that.
for wave
Yeah.
clear. I prefer to use it to look for the
Yeah.
jungle.
Season 1, bring it back. Clairvoyance. Janna actually
that's a
died.
level
Cancels the
6
jump.
Cancel. Prayed in big trouble. First blood picked up for Shern.
It's top 2v2 for the Direwolves. Just make everything look so easy. Jump cancelled by Chippies on the Gnar. Shernfire comes in, cleans himself up a kill. Ping's going out into Shern right now for Juice, but he's only level 4. And
Yes.
Zoe's around.
Shern looking potentially over the wall. Is standing on a ward.
Yep.
So Shern grabs that one. You can see he's already 2 camps up and a kill. Do you really want to go for this? He does.
Ooh.
Makes him jump out.
Yep, TP came out of Praedyth, so would have been a 2v1 if they could lock him down, but Shern with Flash still available. Would have been pretty hard.
Yeah, nigh on possible, I would say.
What does he get? He has Smite. He got a heal. Is he going to Smite the creep and pick it up?
Yeah, he should.
Oh,
In the
engage.
bottom lane, you see one more time, Tahm Kench going for that. Has actually acquired the full taste of Dream, however. Good disengage out of Kuden.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting to see this matchup. The Caitlyn, Tahm Kench being the aggressors here.
Oh, they're absolutely like bullying them out
Yep,
of the
they
lane.
can't walk in. The trap's going to lock them out of the wave here. Neither of them can really dash over the wall. Rakan can, but he doesn't want to blow his CC. So that does mean that Caitlyn gets to push in the wave here. Direwolves with complete control of the bottom-hand side of the map.
20 CS lead.
It's a big lead already. The wave is pretty large, so Dream will catch back up a little bit, but
If he can get it all. I mean,
Yeah.
he's just missed one. See how many more he misses on this wave. We said that the other day about a top laner, and then they missed nearly all of them. He's grabbed post.
yeah, pick up most. Unfortunately, the feather hits that one, so that does go down. Wards are around the blue buff here. They're pinging out, so they know that Bedoink is picking this one up. Juice pretty low from that, and not level 6, whereas Shernfire is. We haven't mentioned yet as well, the Infernal Drake is once again the first dragon in this matchup, Sin. Unfortunately for them, Direwolves with the control already. Have to be looking at that one soon.
And Triple, once again, using some priority mid lane to just float into the jungle, pressure the top lane. You can see Bedoink just hasn't recalled, looking for a shot, needs to be able to regain control of this wave. And he's just cancelled. He's not able to.
There's a little bit of mana here because the blue buff's ticking back up, but Triple once again this game has just been all over the map. Hasn't found a successful gank yet or anything like that, but he's just been constantly floating. His priority, he doesn't just push in and then fling spells under the turret. Isn't looking for damage. He looks for a bubble, maybe, and then if it doesn't connect, he just walks away, walks into the jungle, places a ward, steals away a camp, looks for
Juves in some
Juves.
trouble here. Shern's going to stealth up onto him, gets the first proc. Juves has to jump away, hits the wall. Juves jumps on him, looking for more damage. Will be able to take him very low. And Juves, that's nearly a faker head tilt.
Yeah.
Little bit of the creak
neck
of
crack.
the neck, yeah.
Short hands, his elastic slingshot there. Doesn't go over the wall, doesn't want to take the extra damage, but that does mean the jump from Shernfire is
Ooh,
enough.
And
so
Praedyth is now exhausted.
yeah, he's mini.
He's mini. He's
He has
stuck
no flash.
in mini, and he's going to be jumped on here. Does get the double hop away, but that is a huge creep wave he has lost under turret. And there is no way he can get back in there.
Juice is trying to come back up. Triple his base, so it does give Bedoink some time.
Actually gets
Oh!
flashed on. Hextech ultimatum goes down. Praedyth, he's going to look to fall. Shern picks that one up again.
And I was going to mention initially, Chippies doesn't actually blow the flash. He could close the gap. They know it's down for the Gnar, but he saves it with a fadeaway. Sin trying to match here, but can they?
Yeah, exactly right. There's just so good vision control around for the Direwolf, so they'll be able to maybe save... No, they can't even save the turret. They can do absolutely nothing. But Doink doesn't even want to push the wave because Praedyth is like, dude, if you do that, I am out of the game with no CS. So a waste of time for Bedoink. Unfortunately, top lane going to be very rough now.
Yep. I think it's undoubtedly Shernfire has picked his favorite player on the team. 2 games in a row, he's just like, Chippies, hey dude, you want some jungle pressure?
I mean, Camille
Let's
just
kill
sets up
Praedyth.
ganks so
Yep.
well. Especially if you're able to E-flash.
He actually landed it.
He's landed a couple of them.
Yeah.
It's good to see.
Yeah, it is. After we've seen a few missed ones, we've seen it botched a number of times. Bubble does land. Oh, he
Yeah,
actually went in.
goes in and
Has
has
to
to
burn
burn
the
the cleanse.
It's a big deal. So next time that lands, you have to think if Shernfire is around, that could be another kill. But Doink trying to go aggressive. He wanted to potentially hit it with the ulti. Emperor's Divide into the turret, but wasn't able to. So the shield blocks a little bit of the damage, but then, of course, has to burn that summoner. Juve's looking for the bot lane right now. Direwolves are pushed up.
Juve needs to look for something.
Yep.
At this stage, 0-0-0 on the Zac. Falling behind in farm as well as kills. If the Kha'Zix opens up the map early, we'll just be able to attack side lanes, quite like Babib did on Rengar yesterday. We'll see what Juve's response is to all this pressure right now. He's just on a ward.
That is very unlucky out of him. Schönfire is actually behind.
Yeah, Schönfire is looking for him. Might
I don't think he's
actually
been
run
spotted.
into him. Big damage coming out of Schön already. That's a second passive proc. Electrocute as well. Juve turns it around. In goes Kuden. And Schön maybe too deep.
Yeah.
Kill picked up for Dream, and now Bedoink
Oh.
wants some more, but big paddle star over the wall means that fight is no longer happening. He also just got Juves with that E. So Juve's going to fall very low, and now Chippy's on the mid lane turret, looking to take the second turret of the game.
Yeah, and the entire...
Oh.
Oh, does that land? Does it go?
Yep.
Doesn't have the ulti, so he can't quite close the gap. Has the belt and the flash, but doesn't choose to use it. But even though Schönfire goes down, the entire roster of Direwolves just rotate down. Chippies comes to mid. Zoe goes bottom. They're still pressuring across the board, and Praedyth, all he's done is pushed in the wave.
Exactly right. So Praedyth still looking to get any pressure topside. It's just building up a big wave for Chippies to eventually go and collect. And this bottom lane turret now becomes under siege. Outer ring will just collapse right now for Sin Gaming. And at 12 minutes in, this early game has gone even more disastrously than game number one. And now Jern still wants some more. Going aggressive onto Praedyth. Praedyth looking for a transform, gets the hop.
Oh.
Flashes forward, looks for the fling into the wall, will not be able to find it. And because he burnt his flash, he would just fall down. Chippies grabs another kill.
He wanted the 1v1. He was kind of posturing back and forth. Chippies couldn't pick which way he wanted to go there. And obviously the E can't get him over the wall that big for Schönfire. Hit him with the 1v1, but that flash will be burnt by the top laner of Sin. And unfortunately for him, that goes down. They're looking at the Infernal, though.
Yeah, I think this is a good move. They know that the bottom lane wants to reset. They've just seen Schön top side of the map. Assume that he's counter jungling. That's what he does best.
Yep.
So they say, okay, for this brief window in the game, we have priority on the bottom side of the map. Let's grab the scaling Drake. Now let's maybe look to pressure bottom lane turret.
Yep, but Direwolves do have both TPs available. Spellbook on the Zoe means he can get down here if he wants.
Yep.
The ultis are available out of Sin, not Juves, but everyone else, so they could look for it. Bedoink was walking down the river, but ultimately just going to take his blue buff and slink back to the mid lane.
Blue buff.
Blue
I
buff.
like that.
Blue baff. Blue
Baff?
baff. Buff. We'll just alternate. We'll just switch it up as the day goes on.
And Juve has kind of divided the map in half here. This is cute. Teleports, actually two
Oh, they're
teleports
going.
coming into the bottom lane. This is going to be the play onto the Zyra Khan. They go forward. That's all you can really do. Big damage onto King. Teleport now coming out of the Nara as well. Can they get the kill before the collapse is here? No, it does not look like they can. No mega up and available. Dream, actually with some sick mechanics there, gets the play. Juves fumbles the ultimate and actually might get blobleted. No, he doesn't. Looked like it could be the play that Sin were finally looking for, but it fizzles.
Yeah, the mid laner from Sin is down here again. Health bars are very low at a Direwolf, so they might just back away from the turret. Schönfire obviously did recall, hits that Scry's Bloom, so they do spot out Bedoink. Just going to concede the turret.
Dream played that nearly as well as you can play that.
Yep.
A slightly better ulti out of Juves, or maybe the clap coming out from the Q. That could have been easily a couple of kills.
Yep.
What started as a 2v4.
Yep, did. And the 2v4 was pretty interesting. Cupcake had to make a decision. He eats King, because obviously the duo lane out of Sin get a lot of damage down, and he's like, which way do I go? What's safer? The two TPs or the turret? And he picks the turret. King gets very low, has to burn that stopwatch in the end, but does live. Picked himself up the Shiv. On the other side of the map, Dream also got his Reaver halfway to his next Zeal item.
Yeah, so doing quite nicely for himself right now. You can see did go with the boots option, so we'll be able to pick up boots too for a slightly cheaper price. Right, those are continuing to scale up. Direwolves now looking for an objective on the top side of the map. And, I mean, 4,000 gold is a big deal, but against Isaiah and an Azir, not yet nailing the coconut here, like.
Yeah, don't think so yet. But we're only 15 minutes into the game. Not to mention, Sin do have that Infernal, so the later this game goes, the less the gold lead means anyway, and then they have that Infernal to bolster up their damage in those late game team fights. But, as we mentioned, Rift Herald taken away by the mid-jungle duo of Direwolves, so Schönfire picks that one up, and it's not too often that you see the outer ring of turrets already broken before that Rift Herald goes down. So they're going to have a lot of options in terms of how they want to use this one.
Yeah, for sure. It's not too often that you see a team with a nearly 5,000 gold lead, but a CS discrepancy in the mid lane.
Yeah.
As Bedoink was level 11 before Triple, who just grabbed himself a massive creep wave. So credit to Bedoink, putting in some work so far on this Azir.
Keeping up nicely. Potentially, this is game 2 of Triple just rotating around the map. Actually, Shern going to be spotted out. He doesn't
he's
know
actually
Juice
going
is
to be
there.
hit here. In goes the Hexax ultimatum, takes 2 members across Chippies, does take some damage. Praedyth, however, will be exhausted and fall down. Good gank, and somehow Shern lived.
Yeah, somehow. Really good player of hide and seek here, Shern. Invisibility through all the bushes, and he has an enhanced recall, so even though he might have been spotted walking across that lane, it does mean that the kill comes out. The Abyssal Voyage out of Cupcake means a 3v1 on the bottom-hand side of the map. Praedyth 0-4-0, doesn't even have an item yet. Not allowed to play League of Legends today.
Yeah, he's being camped.
Yep.
Would be
Big
a nice
time.
way to say that.
BCF. Boating, camping, and fishing. Shernfire's just set up a tent.
BCFing fun.
Yep.
That's a good ad.
I actually don't know that.
Oh,
I haven't
come
seen
on,
that. I don't know. I don't know anything.
You don't watch TV though.
No, I don't.
You're
I'm
a computer person.
Yeah, I'm a millennial. Watch the internet. What? Sin?
I
Trying
used
to
to
take
be
down-
like you. Then Jasper came into my
Oh,
life.
no,
and
you don't
now,
watch
yeah.
TV? You
Now
don't
I have to watch TV because my hands are always full.
You don't have enough time to play a full 45-minute game of League of
Well,
Legends?
it's not about time, like, because he will sleep or something like that.
Yep.
But it's more like you distracted half of it. Because if he starts grizzling, you're like, ooh, I have to close this game out. Like, I'm
Yep.
a little bit fed. Let's go for some risky plays because I reckon he's only got 5 minutes left on
You're
this
the
map.
guy. Instead of being like, hey, mum's made dinner. I've got to go, guys. You're like, oh, Jasper's making some noise. Guys, quick, end the game.
And then if worst comes to worst, I'm just like, Jenna, please go get him. She's like, you're supposed to be looking after him. I'm like, nah, yeah.
I've got 10 kills.
Pop it off, please.
But Direwall's popping off right now. Only 4 kills to their name. Less bloody as last game right now, but the gold lead still heavily in their favor. 1 minute until Dragon spawns, but they just have almost complete control over the map. All the lanes are pushing in. This mismatch in the top lane right now, Chippies is so incredibly strong. Going a similar build to we did last game. Actually,
but Doink
big
gets
damage.
blown up.
Oh,
Oh,
what?
flash forward out of Cupcake. That was very interesting.
Yeah, that was a bit of a misclick.
Shern's fighting Juice on the top of your screen. Actually makes Juice pop his ultimate. Goes
Oh,
very
bubble.
low. Gets bubbled. Teleport is not available, so this should just die. In goes Kunin to try and save him. Rift Herald is popped as well. Juice will fall down. Didn't see whether Kunin died. Yes, he did. As we float between the turret as well as the team fight.
And honestly, you have to commend Kuden there. Paddle Star obviously requires casting it twice. So he CCs up Triple, means that Juice doesn't take the full brunt of that, but unfortunately they both go down for their troubles there. Rift Herald took that turret, but does die. So that means the
Siege,
inhib.
Siege comp with Caitlyn as well as Zoe. As soon as the turrets are down, they're just able to approach the lanes, and because Shern is so fed, as soon as he catches someone looking for the flanking engage, he can actually solo them out at this stage of the game, and the follow-up CC is always going to be there.
Yep, Zach's meant to be tanky.
It meant to be is the keyword.
Not when Kazak's got 3 kills. Working on his Dustblade. Kind of looking for Praedyth here, but respectfully, he just goes for the base. He doesn't want to push that one out further.
Yeah, another Infernal Drake has spawned. Praedyth does have the TP. Zoe in top lane also has TP. But you can see that they're trying to grab this one before they're in position. Teleport coming in out of Zoe. However, where is Shern? Cannot see him on the map right now. He is just over the back of the Dragon Wall. You can see big damage as well as that Sleepy Trouble Bubble coming out. Triple does so much work. In goes Chippies. You can see Triple gets kidnapped on the right-hand side of the fight, but King just takes Dragon and Juice falls down.
And Direwolves didn't even have vision of Sin. They thought they were walking towards it, and they had the deep flank wards, but Pink in the pit means they didn't actually know the state of the Dragon, but Abyssal Voyage out of Cupcake brings in the jungler. Shernfire gets himself in there, and that was just so much damage coming out of Triple. Sharp was saying he was going to pop off. He only has 1 kill. But honestly, the sole damage dealer on the front end of that fight for the Direwolves. So that's going to be an equalization of those Infernal Drakes, 1-to-1.
Yeah, it certainly is. So all of a sudden, the scaling buff is gone. See Dream trying to just do his best to clear out this top lane turret. Gets ultied in the head for his trouble and just cannot get enough safety and protection here to be able to do so. King will just continue to chip this one down. And honestly, the Direwolves are starting to really put the stranglehold on this game. It's just such nice, clean play to watch.
But because of the state of the map right now, because that Infernal was the last contest, all of Sin's vision is on the bottom-hand side of the map. Direwolves just pushing in the top, so Cupcake going to sweep out a few of those wards. You see the pings go down, but only shallow vision on the side of Sin.
Juves right now, 2,500 gold behind. Mid lane, about 1,200 gold behind. Top lane, about 2,700 gold behind. What I'm trying to say is, no one is really as strong as their counterpart at the moment. Which makes it real hard to do all that much.
Even the Tahm Kench is ahead. Got himself that 700 lead from the Global Gold, so they do have a big advantage right now. And interestingly, the Direwolves Baron, when Chippies has TP and all 5 members of both teams available on the map, and they just pull the trigger and they just go for it, makes it even easier when you have a Tahm Kench. You TP in with without the use of the teleport. So they might just look to set up something on the bottom-hand side and then just flick themselves over so incredibly quickly.
Triple being very careful on the top side of the map before he pushes out this wave. Obviously had the inkling of a feeling that someone was potentially going to be there. They weren't, but you like to see the safety before he approaches a creep wave.
Yeah, something you don't really highlight that often. Obviously, minimizing mistakes is almost just as important as making the big play there, so does play it very safely. He has a spellbook, and the TP earlier is opted in for the Ghost right now for that extra team fighting potential. Zoe, her ability to chase people down, landing those bubbles is so important, especially when she doesn't really chase in a straight line, because you want to kind of be kiting back and forward around the walls. So that extra speed just gives her a bit more ability to maneuver around the terrain.
Looking for Cupcake here is Kuden as well as Dream. See, go in, get the knock up, will dash back out. However, Juves wants to play. See whether he gets the slap, does not get it.
And trap!
But Doink steps on a trap and gets destroyed off the backside of this. You can see Kuden take a very low heal, had to be popped to save him. Now Shern goes very deep. King flashes a wall. Juves is dead again. And you can see Dream trying to save himself, but gets eaten, gets destroyed, and the Direwolves running over the top of them. Chippy's now looking for Praedyth, but that is 3 members of Sin dead, and Direwolves will just push top lane.
And Direwolves almost for free. Get the numbers mismatched, but Doink steps on a trap, has to burn his cleanse, but already takes that headshot proc from King, and he's doing so much damage. Sitting on almost 3 items. They chase them down. That's 3 picks. That will be the inhibitor turret at least. Do they opt in for the inhib? Just a few seconds on Juves. Kuden is available. 10 seconds on Dream, though.
Yeah, how much do they actually elect for here? Because they can see Praedyth is currently in the bottom lane. Kuden's just looking to harass people. We can't do anything. Sleepy Trouble Bubble hit. Juves wants to go in, looks for Shern, does not hit him. In goes Kuden, gets both of the carries, but Sleepy Trouble Bubble onto Bedoink means he's doing no damage. And on the back end of this team fight, Triple is popping off. Emperor's Divide will just keep them at bay. Praedyth says, hey guys, I'm finally here. Where's the team fight happening at? And they say, it's not, dude, go home. And Praedyth says, damn, this isn't working out the way I saw it in my head at all. Direwolves with 3 members of Sin Gaming dead will now look to push in and try and end this game.
Yep, Sin. 2 carries are available. They do have a fair amount of wave clear between them, but Direwolves might just play it safe here. Take the second inhib. Are they going to look for the Nexus? But no. You know what Praedyth was doing?
What?
I'm going to do a voice now. He's doing his best Twitch impression.
Okay.
You know when he comes out of stealth and he's like, hello, it's me.
Yep.
And then he's a little Gnar. He's just a mini Gnar, and all he tries to do is hop over the top and get the hell out of there. Unfortunately for him, he does go down. 0-5-0. Didn't even go for the Black Cleaver. Actually just went straight Frozen Mallet. So a bit of an odd choice here, but potentially because he's so far behind.
Yeah, I think that has to be it.
You see the sleep once again. That's the first one onto Bedoink. And Kuden goes for the engage here, and he does lock down both the carries, as you mentioned. So another sleep lands. Bedoink does no damage this fight. And the TP mega deep coming out of Praedyth. And this is kind of what sucks about being a team that's losing as a Gnar player, because you don't get to fight on your terms. And Gnar is one of those window-based top laners where you want to be mega, you want to be TPing in, you want to be able to coordinate that. And when you're not the ones engaging, you kind of have to TP in willy-nilly.
Yep.
Without that Gnar rage bar built up, it's incredibly hard.
Juves outsmarted Levi,
by the way. Just by the way, though.
Yep.
He doesn't have vision on the buff right now.
Shern is going very low.
He just has to guess. Oh, he actually pinks over the wall, so 6k.
He was a 6'4"
Oh, Cupcake misses the
roller.
bush. Oh, he lands the second one.
And you can see Shern is worried. He is very worried right now about Juves' ability to take this away. Chippies is going to kill Kuden in the meantime. But Juves, this is the game. He just wants in.
Oh,
he clears the pit, looking to kidnap Cupcake. And you can see, they actually flash in.
Oh.
They don't get it. Everyone wanted to help Juves get it. Dream now nearly gets one shot by a Paddle Star. And all of a sudden, Sin Gaming are in full retreat. Juves falls down again. Dream will join him. Kuden, you're also
Leave him
not
alone.
long for this world. Get him, Bedoink.
He's trying.
Cannot even kill Shern at this stage.
Yep.
And unfortunately, as we watch Bedoink get chased down and potentially
Does he
look
get
for
the
a
kill?
kill,
No.
the rest of the Wolfpack are already on the Nexus turrets. And this will be a clean 2-0 that will go 3 points over anyone else that will retain top spot on the OPL ladder.
Hey.
And they do it in massively emphatic fashion.
Normally at the end of the game, you see people trying to pad their stats. You see him trying to pick up a few extra kills, but Triple just wants the death. He just ulties into the Nexus,
It's an
ulties
execute.
into the fountain.
Does an execute count?
I mean, yeah, it's a death.
All right.
Did he die more than once?
No, no.
I'm trying to think, so maybe it doesn't actually influence his KDA. Maybe he goes from 0 to 1, so he's fine. If he goes from 1 to 2, that's a half, though.
Yeah, it's not the best. However, Direwolves looking really good today. I think I always say this: when it's a top team versus a bottom team, a little bit of a trap game. All you have to do is come in and take care of business.
Yep.
And they did that. They played very within themselves. It was very clean games on both times. Second game definitely cleaner than the first. And they just, Sin, obviously a Telegraph team, stopped them from doing what they wanted to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have to, I at least want to highlight Shern, because I think off the back of his play, these 2 wins were kind of brought up by the Direwolves. And I mean, against Order, game 2, we talked about it time and time again, that was an awful game out of him. And they bounced back in that series. And then this week, just played absolutely stellar stuff, 2 games in a row.
Yeah, and this time around, you know, having the Gnar, which doesn't have as good of an engage as the Ornn, falling very far behind early was both the Zac and the Gnar. They just couldn't get the team fights that they wanted to. Not to mention the fact that Direwolves were just playing an out-and-out pick disengage comp, which was much more difficult to engage on, made Sin's comp look a little bit silly from behind.
Yeah, I mean, it did, absolutely. But even you look at the other side of the map in King and Cupcake in the bottom lane, they had Caitlyn, Tom Kench into his Aya Rakan, and they were just bullying them around. That moment we saw where they were kind of like stuck in the river, and Tom's just standing there like, come on, guys, like, you want to come back to lane? You have to go through me. And King just sets up multiple traps. They just could not get back into lane. So although Direwolves did kind of win the games off the back of the top side of the map, it's not like the other side were slouches either.
Not at all. I mean, King and Cupcake have shown time and time again that you can play through them. You can leave them to just push turrets. You can leave them to be dove and play defensively. And they're just going to be able to absorb pressure. They're going to be able to create pressure. They really do it all. And I just think that right now they're raising their hand and saying, we are still one of the best bottom lanes, if not the premier bottom lane in the OPL.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to have a weak side of the map there. You have to have a strong side and a weak side, and you will play towards it. So, yeah, unfortunately for the bot lane from Direwolves, that was them, but stellar stuff, I think.
Yeah, it certainly was. Really nice game out of the Direwolves. They pick up the clean 2-0 victory. And to hear from one of their players, Laura's alongside with Blinky and King.
Thank you very much, guys. Yes, I'm here with Blinky and King. Congratulations on your win, King. You've been playing amazingly over the past few weeks. How do you feel about today's performance?
Today, it wasn't really like a standout. I was like, I just did my job, and compared to the Bombers game where I felt like I had a lot of impact, today was just like, I got dropped in the draft. I didn't get any like really impactful champions. I just farmed, did okay, and let Chippies and Shern carry.
Yeah, on that, you have very high CS numbers every game. How do you facilitate making sure that you have pressure in lane while CSing quite well?
I mean, it's more that I focus on CSing rather than like using my pressure to do something else. Like I don't like ditch my wave and do something. I always make sure I'm really efficient. So like I don't roam when it's a bad time. I don't really fight when it's a bad time. I always go when it's good. So I always have high CS.
Yep, on that, so you say that you don't really roam out of lane. You guys use your priority quite well compared to other bot lanes. How do you decide the way that you use your priority over roaming to another lane, or just?
It just really depends on like where the pressure is on the map. Like that game, Shern used like all his pressure to help top. So we're just like, okay, Shern's top, their jungle's bot side. We just ward our jungle, don't let him take anything, and just play safe.
I know you were saying you felt like you didn't have that much of an impact on this game, but did you have fun? Because you guys looked like you were in really high spirits after game one, and we saw Shern punching the chair. Is this something you all do, or is it just a little trait that he does?
I think Shern's broken a few chairs before, but I didn't feel that happy because, like, I didn't really, like I said, I didn't really have an impact. I just farmed, just killed a few people. But Shern just always gets hyped, usually. Even in scrims, like we win scrims, Shern just starts punching chairs. Like some people are different.
Yeah, some people are different, but we all love Shern. But now we're in 8.3. I want to ask you, what's your favorite ADC to play in this meta?
I always like Ezreal. Like, I remember, because what we do is we predict champions, like, whether they're going to be good or not, and I'm pretty sure I predicted Ezreal's useless, and suddenly I'm just like, oh wait, he's still the best. And I have a lot of fun playing it, but I have a really deep champion pool, I feel like, because that's one of the biggest lessons I learned last year. Like, I need to be able to play everything, so I don't really have a favorite. I even enjoy, like, I don't know, I always play random stuff in solo queue, like the Jace ADC. Like, I used to play Mordekaiser last year in bot lane.
Are we ever going to see that back, this split?
Maybe.
Maybe.
I like my surprise someone with the Mordekaiser pick.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. But we are halfway through the split. What can we expect to see from the Direwolves over the next few weeks looking towards that gauntlet?
It's really close. Like, it's, what is it? Are we even with order? Assuming they win every game?
The orders. No, sorry, you're ahead. You're ahead.
Or-
You're a little bit ahead, yeah.
Like 1 point?
Yeah, something really
Like,
close.
Yeah.
we're just looking to not drop that, like, one game. Like, we don't want to lose to Legacy or that when we rematch with order, we want to lose 1-2 and then perhaps, like, have to play a tiebreaker.
Yep.
We're just focusing on week to week, trying to make sure we don't drop that really important game because we want to sit in the in the final and watch everyone battle out in the gauntlet because that was really fun last year.
I do have one last question on that. So you lane with Cupcake now over Destiny. I would say that quite different players, as Cupcake's more for lane and Destiny's more about like the team. How do you change your playstyle to playing with Cupcake over Destiny?
It's sort of like a weird like view on ADC and support. It's like, oh, this guy, he synergizes really well. But I see it's more like one good player will play good with another player. There's no like different styles. And I just think he's a good player, but he learned and he helps me get better as well. So as opposed to last year, I feel like Andy has a lot more criticism for me.
Yeah.
So he helps me improve, but like that's the environment Direwolves. Everyone can criticize each other. Like it's not like, oh, you're really bad, get better. It's like you did this
Cute little
bad.
friendship.
I can help you get better. Just do this. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like Andy's really good to play with.
That's good.
Jake was also saying on the desk that when he had a hair that was your color, he found it really hard to maintain. Do you have any tips for anyone watching at home how to maintain your hair? Because he said it looks really soft.
I'm pretty sure when I did this in Korea, and
Yeah.
the woman's like, "Well, your hair might start falling apart." And I was like, "Oh, what?"
Okay.
But I didn't really care. I just wanted it to be this color. But I got a haircut recently, and the guy just completely messed it up. I'm considering just shaving it all off. Might do that.
Doing a Schoenfire.
Yeah, do a
Shaving it all
Schoenfire.
off.
If you drop a game from now and you have to shave it,
All right. Okay, that deal.
Deal. All right. We're going to head to a short break. When we get back, we're going to have the second series of the day between Legacy and Tectonic. Don't go anywhere.
Bring it back, Clairvoyant. John
And
actually
that's a
dive,
level
cancels the
6
jump.
Cancel, Kratos in big trouble. First blood picked up for Shern. In goes Kuda to try and save him. Rift Herald is popped as well. Juice will fall down. Gonna see whether Kuda died. Yes, he did. She can see Kuda take a very low heal. Had to be popped to save him. Now Shern goes very deep. King flashes a wall. Juice is dead again. You can see Dream trying to save himself, but gets eaten. Gets destroyed, and the Direwolves running over the top of the ball. In goes Kuda, gets both of the carries, but Sleepy Trouble Bubble onto Bedoink means he's doing no damage. And on the back end of this team fight, Triple is popping off. Emperor's Divide will just keep them at bay. Kratos says, hey guys, I'm finally here. Where's the team fight happening at? And they say, it's not dudes, go home. And Kratos says, ah, damn. And you can see, they actually flash in.
Ooh.
They don't get it. Everyone wanted to help Juice get it. Dream now nearly gets one shot by a Paddle Star. And all of a sudden, Sid Gaming are in full retreat. Juice falls down again. And this will be a Queen 2-0 that will go 3 points over anyone else that will retain top spot on the OBL ladder.
Hey.
And they do it in massively emphatic fashion.